What's going on? Welcome back to my channel. Listen, man. So it seems Lil Durk might be hit with two more charges, man. We already know that Lil Durk is in jail for allegedly a murder for hire plot. You know what I mean? The situation going on with rapper Quando Rondo, his cousin being killed, and it was talking to Quando Rondo. You know what I'm saying? And this is just wild. And Lil Durk been in jail for like what, almost a year now, which is crazy. Like time is flying like a mug. So now I'm gonna react to this video, man, by end of sentence, man, Jake. Pretty good YouTube channel. Let's see what he got to say. Let's go.
Things just went from bad to worse in the Lil Durk case after the feds are they're gonna hit Durk with new charges. And these aren't just like small incidents. We're talking about murder and attempted murder. Now the homie Remo will post to IG saying the feds are looking to add two charges from 2022 and 2019 to Lil Durk's case. And this is years ago. Shout out to the homie Crit Mac. Wish the cest, everything gonna see all right. Never commit suicide. We're gonna like that comment right there. By now, y'all are familiar with how the feds work. The feds can take anything you've ever done and turn it into a whole nother situation. That's kind of what they do with RICO, right? We saw in the Young Thug case a whole bunch of different crimes that people already went to prison for. They got re-indicted under a RICO and hit with all of those crimes that they already did. This is the same type of game the feds play. Now, I believe All Hip Hop was the first to break this news, so shout out to them. And it would state Lil Durk's case could expand after prosecutors signal they may add older Chicago and Atlanta incidents before trial. The possible expansion surfaced in a May 21st court filing from DeAndre Wilson, one of Durk's co-defendants. Wilson is asking a federal judge to reconsider his detention and let him out on bond while the case moves forward. Wilson's filing says prosecutors informed defense lawyers on May 13th that they are considering supplemental charges by June 3rd. The new charges would add two older alleged incidents as direct evidence: a 2022 Chicago incident and a 2019 Atlanta incident. That could create a major timing problem for all of the co-defendants because it'll knock the case off its current August 20th, 2026 trial date, requiring new arraignments, more discovery, additional motions, and more investigation. Wilson's lawyer says the two incidents do not involve him, and that is the core of his freedom bid. He argues he should not remain jailed for months while lawyers prepare for events where prosecutors do not even place him at the scene. So basically, one of the co-defendants was told, look, we're thinking about hitting Durk with new shit. And he's like, what the fuck does that have to do with me? I wasn't there.
Yeah, because it's kind of wild because you got like at least like 3 or 4 people who was also charged with Lil Durk. You know what I mean? And I think Durk, I don't know if his charge is going to be real serious, but he's going to be the one that's really getting the blame because he's a celebrity. He got all the money, and the other guy was just doing what it was told. So I think one of them guys might end up snitching on Durk before trial.
For that shit, I'm not getting charged with that shit. Let me out. Let me go on bond. Now, the Atlanta incident appears to trace back to January 2019, in which there was a shooting near the Varsity restaurant in downtown Atlanta. That Durk, whose legal name is Durk Banks, had faced felony charges in that case before the Fulton County DA dropped them in 2022. Those charges included criminal attempt to commit murder, aggravated assault, participation in criminal street gang activity, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The victim was shot in the leg after an argument near the restaurant. Now, obviously, if you're a fan of Durk or a fan of Vaughn, you remember this exact incident. Because if you remember, this is when Durk and Vaughn allegedly robbed and shot somebody.
Case against a rapper accused in a shooting outside of the Varsity will move forward. Today, Lil Durk appeared in court where a judge ruled there was enough evidence for him to go to trial. Channel 2's anchor Lori Wilson is live near where the shooting happened, near the Varsity, and Lori, police say they have video evidence in this case.
Jovita, APD says they used at least 5 cameras from local businesses, including this BP, as well as from the Varsity across the street in order to build their case against Lil Durk and his co-defendant. On Friday, detectives from Atlanta and Chicago testified in the criminal case against rapper Lil Durk in Fulton County Court. They say around 5 in the morning on February 5th, Lil Durk, whose real name is Durk Derek Banks, and his co-defendant Devontae Bennett were seen on camera involved in shooting Alexander Witherspoon, a person police say they knew.
They were hanging out. They went to a studio to make music.
The rapper and Bennett listened to the evidence against them in court. Police told the judge later that night the victim, Banks, Bennett, and others went to a nightclub, a gas station, and ended up in the parking lot of the Varsity. That's when Weatherspoon said he was robbed and shot.
He said his chain was snatched off his neck, and he had $30,000 stolen from him, and they stole the vehicle he was driving.
Police say Banks was
Yeah, you had $30,000 on you? Like, that's crazy. He had to be like a drug dealer or something. $30,000. I understand your chain being snatched, but like, why the hell you walking around with $30,000? That's wild. That is wild right there, man.
seen on tape shooting a gun.
You see Mr. Banks' arm out the window firing several shots at the victim, towards the victim.
Banks' attorney says this is a celebrity witch hunt.
Were it not for the celebrity status of these two individuals, then this would be an aggravated assault.
Banks released a single, "Turn Myself In," the day he turned himself in. It's gotten almost 7 million views. The prosecutor charging this wasn't just a robbery and shooting, but gang activity. She put a Chicago detective on the stand to testify that Banks and Bennett are members of Chicago gangs.
Is it possible to continue your affiliation and even commit crimes when you move out of Chicago if you're in a different city or if a different area?
Yes, ma'am.
Vaughn ended up dying before the case was resolved, and Durk ended up beating the case. And a lot of people try to say, oh, Durk must have threw Vaughn under the bus, whatever. But then I believe the DA came out and said if Vaughn was still alive, we would have charged him with this shooting. And I mean, if we just go and watch Trap Lord Ross's masterpiece documentary on King Vaughn being a serial killer, we know he's trigger happy. So it's no surprise that Vaughn most likely popped dude in Atlanta. And from what I heard, that wasn't the only person he shot in Atlanta. But this is serious because if the feds are trying to use this against Durk, this is an attempted murder case. A dismissal motion from 2022 said prosecutors reviewed the facts and chose not to prosecute, even though probable cause had existed for Durk's arrest. Durk's lawyer said for some reason they decided that Mr. Banks was involved since some of the people he affiliated were involved in the shooting. We strongly deny that. Now, the Chicago incident from January of 2022 was the killing of Stephon Mack outside of Roseland Community Center. Back in 2024, unsealed court records claimed Durk was behind the fatal shooting, but Durk has not been charged in that killing. That is the tension in Wilson's new filing. His lawyers say prosecutors want to use the Chicago and Atlanta incidents as direct evidence in the federal case, even though both predate the Los Angeles attempted assassination of Quando Rondo, in which they killed Lil Pab. Now, everywhere on Reddit would they be breaking down this murder. If Durk beats his case with stopping the feds from charging him with Stephon Mack, well, Cup Crafty, I'm pretty sure you just put this into motion. But the shooting of Stephon Mack was when this guy, Elmer, fudded his way across the parking lot with a rifle, and this guy shot a pistol.
Yeah, I seen that video right there. Like, I think them guys where they killed the guy for killing Lil Durk brother. Now, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about that, but I think these are the guys that killed the guys that allegedly killed Lil Durk brother. And I seen that video right there, and that video was pretty wild that they waited on the guy to come out the barber shop or whatever, and they chased him down. And these guys left fingerprints in the car. These guys left a cell phone in the car with the information, text, and stuff like that from allegedly Lil Durk, like, which is wild. Like, these guys just sloppy and crazy.
And I guess this kid was the one with the pistol. They basically gunned dude down and then tried to say Durk was the one that paid for the hit, that sent the bag. The bag apparently never reached them. He never actually paid. But they were alleging Durk was the one behind this situation. And the feds would want to bring this up because it's another example of Durk allegedly paying for hits. Now, we could take this either way. We could take this as the feds are doubling down to secure a conviction and showing that he's been involved in multiple situations that share the same similarities, or we could view this as a desperate attempt by the feds to bring something else in to halt everything because they're not ready to go to trial. Durk got the best lawyer he can have. The feds want more time. So they add on this little bullshit. Now all of a sudden they got to do new arraignments, new witnesses, new this, new that, and everything gets delayed. And things can be delayed by years. Not everything in the feds is that quick. And if it's the prosecutors asking for more time, That tells you something, because normally, from what we understand, is the feds don't indict unless they have you. And if they have you, they have all the evidence they need. They don't need to take their sweet ass time. This shit'll get done in 4 months. But the fact that this is the play the feds are putting in motion may or may not be a good thing for Durk. So unless the feds magically found new evidence of him being the shooter in the Atlanta case, I don't see how they could convict him for that, right? He wasn't found guilty, the charges were dropped, which means he could always be hit with new charges, but they would need new evidence. And the co-defendant in that case, Vaughn, is dead. So I don't see how that would even play a role. Now, as far as the murder in Chicago, yeah, if those dudes are fully cooperating and blaming Durk, okay, that's one thing. But are the feds actually able to prove it beyond just their words? Because clearly they're gonna try to save themselves. Are the feds able to prove he did any of this shit? Again, they're just putting themselves in another position. Same shit with the Quando Rondo thing. Okay, everything leads back to Durk, but can we prove it actually happened? To be honest with you, I'm not sure what to think. Apparently, if this is gonna happen, it's gonna happen on June 3rd. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. But let me know y'all's thoughts and comments in the comment section.
Yeah, man, that whole thing right there is wild because I know they done pushed it back a couple of times already, the trial, and it's supposed to start in August. So we gonna see. Um, I don't know, man. I think these guys that did the shooting on Corner Rondo, I think one of them guys might end up flipping. Because those guys that did the shooting right there that allegedly kill your Lil Durk's brother, I think one of them guys got 30, 35 years. You know what I mean? So I don't know, yo. This case is gonna be pretty wild. Like this is wild. Like if King Vaughn was alive, I think that he probably would have been charged with that 2022 killing in Chicago. If he wouldn't have got killed himself, because a lot of people say this guy was killing people. Even documentaries and stuff on this guy. Like this is wild. But Little Dirk, I'm not sure. He's like in the shadow. Rich guy, famous music and stuff like that. But it's like I don't know. It's gonna be tricky, man. Like he do got some good lawyers and stuff like that, but then again, sometimes it doesn't even matter if you got good lawyers. What I mean? You still can be charged. But then again, the prosecutors kind of just throwing stuff out there. Like these cases is kind of old. They don't really have no evidence of Little Dirk really doing anything, or even unless they paying anybody. So I don't know. We gonna see. But listen, let me know your thoughts in the comments about this whole thing, man. Do y'all think Little Dirk might get off, or he gonna be found guilty? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.